one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can't figure out how to share my screen. I can't figure out how to share the screen. I got it pulled up.
Approval of the minutes from November 13th, no, I should put my glasses on. Approval of the minutes from November 13th. I need a motion to accept in a second.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Gavin, a second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Parks and Recreation Director's Report.
All right. The Monday after Thanksgiving, we had a fire or vandalism of the Cole Miller house, and a fire was set inside. I assume maybe a kid, but we don't know for sure. Threw a brick through the window, lit the curtain on fire. The curtain burned, the wood window frame and a dresser that was next to it burned a hole in the side of the dresser. And then luckily put itself out, but there's a lot of smoke damage inside. And right now the window's boarded up. So this would have been the east side of the house, closest to the outdoor
Smokehouse.
Smokehouse, thank you. And so we don't know the damage. We had a meeting today with the Historical Society because most of their stuff in there is theirs. And we're gonna have ServPro, get a bid from ServPro to see about smoke cleanup, smoke damage cleanup, and then figure out how we're gonna repair the window and get that all back to restored. So more to come on that. And there's no camera up there. We don't have Wi-Fi up there. There was snow on the ground that day when we came in, but there was no tracks in the snow, so it must have happened before it snowed. And not sure how long it sat like that. So, but we have guys that check it during the week, almost daily, especially in the wintertime with the heat and stuff like that in the building. So more to come on that. Staffs recently, or they're just about complete, they have to pour the concrete up on top of the hill at the Motorsports. We had some erosion issues there. They've been going on for about a year. And a pipe was installed that runs down the hill and under the trail and into the creek now to drain some of the storm water off of the Motorsports, the Millings area up there now. So that's good, because we had it like last winter in February, we found it was at least 6 feet deep hole that was probably 10 to 15 feet wide. And we had filled it. We filled it before the fair. We filled it a couple times this year, and it keeps just, everything we put in it keeps filling, it keeps falling out the bottom. So we're hoping the water will, or the pipe will help with the situation. I think I mentioned last time, but I hadn't seen it. We had a pretty substantial washout at Miller Post along St. Johns Creek. That'll be our next project, to get up there and secure the creek bank. So people can still use the trail and everything like that. So that'd be a little bit of a process. We got to cut into the hillside to kind of move the trail over, away from the creek, and then backfill where it kind of sloughed off, and then plant that, put some down like textile fabric stuff that will hold the soil in place, and then plant probably natives on top of that to kind of keep the bank in place. So we'll be working on that later this winter. The Miller Post Pavilion's coming along. The kids are doing a great job. Trusses are up, and they were supposed to be maybe this week putting tin on it, on the roof, so that's good. We have staff at training, some of the maintenance staff today and tomorrow, which is good because they don't often get time to do that. We hired a parks mechanic. We've been without that position since July. We found a guy to fill that position. He'll need some training too. He doesn't have all the training that we need right now, but hopefully we can bring him up to speed soon. And it's a younger guy that lives here locally, just moved here about a year ago, him and his family. So. And then I don't know how many of you are aware, but I'm sad to report, as you probably know, building maintenance for the city falls under the Parks Department, and I oversee that division or that department. And our full-time staff member, Bill Carroll, who worked out of this building, passed away right before Thanksgiving. And so we're dealing with that. We're scrambling a little bit. We have a permanent part-time guy that was his assistant or helper that's kind of filling the role right now until we figure things out and get some,
That's not Billy, is it? It goes by
not
Bill?
Billy,
Oh,
Bill
okay.
Carroll.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Billy's still here. He's our weekend guy. And then Maid Stage Roof is still ongoing. Cowboy called Darren this week, or was that last week, and assured him everything is on schedule, even though it doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on out there right now, but he still feels like he's got plenty of time to complete what needs to be completed. And Cochran has been on him, which I think was what prompted the call to the city administrator. So that's moving along. And then coming up on December 19th, I just want to let you know we have kind of our last rec program coming up. The flashlight candy cane hunt is December 19th, 6:30, 7:30 in the lower level of the auditorium. So if you have kids, grandkids, it's a fun event, very cool event. So that's it. Any questions?
Sounds good.
I wonder, do you think it's, 'cause I haven't plugged this to plug this in. I wonder if that's-
This is just for this. That's all it is.
No questions from the
Can
board?
can I make, I don't know if this is the right time, but I just want to tell staff that they did a fabulous job for the Angel of Hope the other night,
Oh, yes.
and it was outstanding. They did a beautiful job with lighting and everything, so we really appreciate that.
I saw glimpses of it when I was in Omaha because it was on live. I
Right.
actually, not accidentally, but went to social media and onto our page, and there it was live. I was like, oh, yeah. So I watched a tiny bit of it. So, yeah, it looked like there was a lot of people there. So
In the vein of constructive criticism, can they find a better spot to put the camera for the live stream? It was off to the side and, wasn't real accurate as far as, who was speaking, et cetera, et cetera.
Any other?
We might set it up a little higher, too. I think that would be good to kind of be behind her, maybe, and so you can see. That might be really pretty. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Any communication from the audience? Hearing none. Under old business, the Parks Master Plan update.
Yeah, so yesterday I emailed out a flyer, and we changed a little bit of wording on it. Sparky actually responded late last night and said, and I had multiple people look at this, including me. There was 2 different times on there, and it was, I knew what they meant, but I think it was if you weren't working with the company, you could have been confused, and I think Sparky was trying to point that out. And so you should have a flyer in front of you now. And we changed the name from workshop to open house. And it said up at the top, it said 5 to 7, but then down at the bottom in the text, it said something about come at 5:30 to blah, blah, blah. And so now our times, it's more, he wanted to be more of an open, just so you all know, an open house where you can kind of drop in. If you can't get there at 5, you can still come at 5:30, 6:30, whatever. Whereas the first one, he wanted everyone there at the beginning because they were gonna go over a bunch of stuff and they didn't have time to go back over it if you showed up late. And so this time, they'll also have they'll have poster boards, if any of you, I know Gavin, I think, was there at the city comp plan. They'll have poster boards set up with pretty pictures, and you'll be able to put post-it notes, and yes, I like this, no, I don't like that, we should do this, that type of thing on it at this meeting. So I will email this out again. I only emailed it to Park Board, the Master Plan Selection Committee, and City Council, just so everyone could kind of get it on their calendars. But I'll re-email it out with the revised flyer. And then it'll go out to all the service organizations, the sports group, there's a whole laundry list of groups that it has to go out to yet, so, including the swim team, which I forgot to send it to them last time.
Any questions? Trail connection at the Riverfront Park.
Yes, still moving along slowly. I should have kind of known, I had a feeling this might happen, but DNR, who oversees that grant, has the construction documents, plans for the restroom, and they have the bid documents, and both of them have to be approved by DNR to make sure all the Ts are crossed and everything for the federal grant. And once I get word back that everything's been approved, then we can get it out to, the restroom portion out to bid this winter yet. So now, as we move into December and likely January, I was hoping to have it done before the first sunset, and that's likely not gonna happen. And so we'll try to make as many concessions, we'll do whatever we need to do. Cochran thought we could still be under construction and still have some of the bathrooms open for use this summer. So I was hoping it'd all be done by then, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So,
Okay. Under new business, pool daily fee increase.
yes, I'm backtracking a little bit. Last month, I brought to you the proposed fees for the visit cards, the punch cards or the pool cards. And then I shared with you, I think last month, I think it was, the attendance and the financials for the pool, and it showed that we had, record attendance, but also record expenses. And and then now we're putting on a pretty big pool feature, a $250,000 slide this year. And so, talking with the city administrator, we thought now with our expenses being a record, are very high anyways, that would be a good time to raise the fee from $7 to $8 to help offset some of those expenses. And in addition, last year, before the season started, Union raised their fee from $6 to $7. So last year, our two fees were the same. Our fee was the same as Union's. And so we feel that hopefully $8, we should be able to, with adding a new pool feature and things like that, the cost of doing business has gone up, lifeguarding has gone up substantially. We just need to try to recover some of our costs. And so it would be raising only the daily fee from, like I said, $1 from $7 to $8. And then and if everyone was okay with that, this will still have to go to city council for approval because it's in our fee code. Then I also, in your packet, had a revised promotion flyer for the punch cards. And so basically, those fees, in the end, starting May 1st, that's $20 higher than what I showed you in November. But it comes out to $6 a time instead of $5, which is what it has been. So if you buy the punch card, instead of paying $8 at the gate, you can pay $6 now. And last year it was, you pay $5 with the punch card, or you pay $7 at the gate. So discussions, questions, comments?
It says here that the visits from 2022 to 2024 seasons are still valid.
Yes, because remember the first year we had them expire, but
Right.
now
So,
they're,
and they could, so if they had some left over,
Yep.
there's no additional charges till they run out.
correct. And that's the plan going forward,
Right.
so we don't have, it was kind of a messy situation to have to track that.
Sounds good.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Is there a one fee, child, adult, across the board? $8 will, for everybody to walk in the door?
Oh, there is a child's fee, $3.
$3 for a child?
Oh,
Oh, just
Sorry.
3 and up?
yes, sorry. I was thinking-
Under 3 is free?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other?
Anybody else?
Nope.
Hearing no other discussion, we need a motion to accept these increases so it can be passed on to the council. And a second, please.
I'll make a motion. You can't make a motion. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Gavin and a second by Betty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry, Mr. Roberts.
It's okay. Facility fee updates.
Okay, I will go through this with you and tell you, you got a 2-page document here, and there's a little history behind this, so bear with me here. In actuality, we're already, people are already paying these fees, because what happened was, last year, if you recall, I came to you on February 13th, and you all passed, that didn't go to council, but it will, or it can. You guys approved, let's see, a pickleball court fee of $5 per day, $10 per hour at night. What's this, the pavilion down by the new playground at the riverfront, that hadn't been rentable in the past. And so that was a $50 rental fee and a $50 deposit fee. And then we were getting some requests last year at the fairgrounds to rent just the motorsports arena. And that was $1,500 rental fee for the first day, and then $500 fee per additional day with a $1,000 damage deposit, because we had never rented out just that portion before. And so you all, Gavin had made the motion, and Kevin did the second. But I was supposed to take it to council the next council meeting in March, and I did not, because we were still working on these other fees, and I can't remember exactly, something happened, and likely I got overwhelmed, and I was like, we'll put it off, and I never got back to it. So these fees you see on your document here, the public's already been paying them, because we changed them, she had already changed them on the website, and we did not change them, go back and change them. But let me go through and describe what we're doing here. We're trying to make our facilities, when I started 6 years ago, we raised all the fees. And we did research on them, on what we raised them to, but I think we outpriced ourselves out of the market on some of the places. And specifically, we heard a lot of complaints about the deposits being too high. And what we were trying to do at that time was make all our deposits the same across the board, no matter what, for most of the facilities, not all of them, but most of them. And so I'll go through here, we'll go by one, I'll tell you what we did, even though Casey has it kind of listed out here, but I'll still go through it. So auditorium, you can see we had a lot of different fees there, and so we're going down to one fee, a flat fee of $550, but that would be for a 3-day rental. And one of the reasons at the auditorium we're doing this is, the reason the prices were higher previously was we were paying FKI, our cleaning company, to come in and clean up the auditorium after events, which cost us a couple $100 to do that. We decided to scrap that idea after it was, 6 years ago. Our staffing levels were different, and we didn't have people that could do this. And now I feel like we can kind of take care of it ourselves in-house if we need to. But if it needs to sit, it can. But the other reason it's a 3-day rental is people, for a big event, wedding, whatever, like some of the downtown events that they do at the auditorium, they went in Friday night to set it up, or Friday evening to set it up, but the event's actually on Saturday. Well, technically, you only have it on Saturday, you don't have it on Friday night. So to kind of solve that problem, you get for $550, you'll get it for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we can clean up on Monday if we need to. We lowered the damage deposit from $500 to $200. And then if you go to auditorium gym level, we got rid of package A and B, kind of condensed it down to $400, and that would be for a 3-day rental. We lowered the deposit from $500 to $200 to make it more affordable, because with the deposit, you were having to pay whatever your fee was for the rental, plus the full deposit on top of that. So you could be paying $1,000 to rent, one of our facilities, and then you don't get the deposit check back until a week, because per finance, we have to send your deposit check to finance, they cash it. And then when the rental's over, if there's no damages, then you gotta wait a couple weeks to get it back in the mail. And we were hearing complaints that it was basically draining people's, bank accounts when that deposit money wasn't getting back fast enough. So on the gym level, like I said, we lowered it to $400, lowered the deposit fee, and we're removing packages A and B, and then but we still will have a weekday rental, because we do get it rented occasionally during the weekday. But we lowered that fee from $800 to $250. Or I'm sorry, that's the deposit, I should say. Or we lowered the deposit there. Then the lower level auditorium, same thing, went from, those prices there, the 3 different prices, to one price for a 3-day rental for the basement there. Lowered the deposit, got rid of packages A and B, and then we still have the weekday rental, fee there. The lower level amphitheater.
Can I ask a question, please, about
Go
the?
ahead, yeah, stop me
before-
anytime.
Before we go beyond the auditorium, do we need a clause for a Sunday rental, anything past noon? If somebody, would want to rent it Sunday, you've got it, Friday 2 to Sunday at noon with,
Well, yeah, it would be dirty from, like if it was a wedding or any kind of big event, it's gonna be dirty, and that would allow, having it stop at noon may allow ability to clean up, but likely it would be cleaned up on Monday. But the reason it stops at noon is on Sunday? Oh, sorry, the actual
Right, but
rental,
I
to
mean-
get their stuff out of there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, but if it's not rented, for anything on Saturday, and if somebody wanted it for a Sunday afternoon, it doesn't, on this, it doesn't look like it's available.
Just to rent it on Sunday?
Well, you can't rent it just on Sunday,
Right,
but
but you're saying you would want it, but we're trying to consolidate, like, we don't have that many, like, it's just easier to give it to them for 3 days.
Right,
Even
I
if they
under-
don't use it on Sunday.
okay.
But I see,
But
yeah,
what
you're
I'm
saying
saying,
if another
what I'm
person-
saying is if somebody wants it on Sunday, but not on Friday or Saturday,
Is it,
okay,
So we're not
Okay.
gonna worry about that.
okay.
Before we move on to that, being as we've lowered the cost considerably in some of these areas, we still need the city or employees to clean up after this. And when you're talking about the whole auditorium, you're talking like 3 floors or whatever. Is that gonna, are we still gonna make money on this, or are we just gonna break even?
well, right now, we took the cleaning company out of it, because that was costing us a good amount of money, which is why the prices were so high to begin with. And so now it's our staff cleaning it when it needs to be cleaned. And that's just, that's just their typical time. If they're not cleaning up the auditorium, they might be out mulching, they might be mowing the grass, they might be doing that stuff. So you can't, you don't really, I wouldn't take in our staff's time to clean it up as a real cost, because that's what they're there, that's what they're hired to do, whether it's mow grass or clean up the auditorium, that's what they're hired to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So she does make a point. So our guys are just actually dust mopping the floors, cleaning the bathrooms. The renter's responsible, so if they have a big elaborate setup of tables and chairs, they have to put the tables and chairs away, because they're kept there in the closet or if they're
And all their
upstairs.
decorations and
All
all
their
the food and all that stuff has to be removed
Yeah, and that's what our
by,
guys do.
by the renter.
Yeah, the dumpster outside, and so we're cleaning the bathrooms, doing the floors,
Yeah.
picking up any trash they miss.
So what I'm thinking too, that if there's something in your contract that might read, big black trash bags furnished for picking up what litter or trash can, take it outside or whatever, that would certainly cut back on a lot of hours for the janitor or whatever.
Yeah, the renter's doing that now.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm gonna go through the rest of them here. We got down to amphitheater, and so once we get to the back, it's really mostly just lowering the deposits, but, amphitheater lower level, so main stage lower level, we lowered the deposit from 500 to 200. And then on the back page there, main park pavilion, lowered the deposit from 500 to 200. Rennick Riverfront Pavilion, the big pavilion, lowered it from 500 to 200. Optimist, we lowered from 500 to 100. Lions Lake, now with the pavilions being new, so we had been at $50 for for a long time since they established those fees with the old pavilions. We didn't raise them when we built them, so we proposed to raise it by $25, and then since they're a nice pavilion, have a damage deposit of $50. Then on Lions Lake 2 and 3, the ones that have electric, raising the fee from 50 to 75, so $25 increase, and then having a damage deposit of $50. Farmers market, then you're back to lowering the deposit from 500 to 200, and the fairgrounds pavilion lowering the deposit from 500 to 200, and the swine pavilion lowering the deposit from 500 to 200. Any questions, comments, concerns?
On, okay.
Go ahead.
On our outdoor facilities, mainly, pavilions, what else? The swine pavilion, the fairgrounds pavilion. Those are still available to use if they are not reserved. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all, that would be like any of our pavilions anywhere. If no one's using it, you can use it.
I was gonna ask about the noon start time. Do you have anybody that has issue, they wanna have a lunch? Cause I'm one of them, but I just moved in. But when we rent the riverfront for our lunch, our guys have lunch at 11:30, so I got a caterer there at 11, so I'm there at 10, moving picnic tables around, getting stuff set up. Sometimes I'm kinda running people out and I don't have a document to prove that I can, but everybody's been very agreeable. It
Is
just,
that during the week?
it's Friday.
Right.
All of them say noon, and I'm thinking birthday parties
It's-
at noon might be 11 o'clock, might be a little better to show for time. I don't think it affects
It's-
us in the least.
Usually on like 2 weeks here on Saturdays.
Yeah.
All the bathrooms, clean all the pavilions, so that guarantees them ready at noon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's mainly,
And you don't have a different, it's daily is daily for those. It's not a different weekend fee, so I get it.
yeah, it just helps with, those, depending on, especially in the summertime, you could run into different, the guys cleaning Billy and those guys could run into different disasters before they ever get to the pavilions. And so that gives us a little leeway of, and sometimes they do run it right up until noon before they get there, depending on what their morning's like, of cleaning up and opening bathrooms in the park system. So that gives them, the noon start, the majority of our rentals are on the weekends, a lot of them. And so that's why, and it's kind of like that too. Gives staff time to empty the trash cans and things like that.
Makes sense.
Have you been seeing an increase of the rentals?
Well, last meeting, I think you guys had a document, I thought it was interesting that, which one was rented, now I can't remember, which pavilion, Lake Pavilion was rented the most? Two, and I thought it would have been 3. But yeah, I think since we redid the lake pavilions, those have increased some. They always have been very popular, and they still are very popular. I think Optimus, since we kind of redid that one, has increased a little bit over there, just making the park a little nicer. And you'll see in a minute, well, we're gonna be going over a playground for over there in just a minute, so too.
Are we gonna,
Oh, sorry.
it seems like 90% of it is a lot of reduction in damage fees, which I get. Are we gonna look at this in another year? I mean, just saying, I think it probably should be looked at yearly, only because if there's more damage, then we might have to adjust.
Knock
If
on
there is no
wood.
damage, we wouldn't have to adjust.
Right, and we can track it, like, knock on wood, we haven't had, really much. I can think of one issue, and it was at the senior center where we had an issue with a renter that damaged a door, trying to break into the kitchen when they weren't supposed to be in there to begin with.
Right.
But other than that, like in the park system, we really haven't had much problems, which
Right.
is good.
And that's great, and I hope that would continue, but I'm just saying, it seems that that's mostly what we're adjusting.
Yes.
And we should maybe just track it to make sure that our adjustments are in line in case something would change.
Yeah, any other, Bob, you had a question?
One last question back on these facilities, these pavilions and that. Sometimes a person will rent, say, a lake pavilion or whatever, and they'll come out there and they want to decorate, and all of a sudden there's another family there or something like this. when we rent out a facility like that, do we give them any kind of paper that they can place on the property showing that
We,
it has been rented?
We worked on that this summer. We implemented a plan, and so if you haven't rented a pavilion since probably midsummer, you might not know this. But we always had, on the pavilions, there's a little stainless steel box, and there's a yellow card there used to be a yellow card in there that said, when it was reserved, we would flip it over and said, this pavilion is reserved, but it didn't say your name or date or anything like that. And when it's not reserved, it says, on the back side of the card, the laminated card, it says, if you'd like to reserve this pavilion, call, blah, 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 the Parks Department. Well, this summer, we have occasionally ran into issues with that, where you got people using the pavilion, say, before lunchtime on a Saturday, and then at lunchtime or around lunchtime, Billy's birthday party shows up expecting to use that pavilion because they have it rented. And so we always just gave them a receipt, and I said, if you had any problems, you're supposed to show this receipt. Well, half the time, the people don't have the receipt with them, or, the person may not be there that actually paid for it. And so this summer, the intern and staff worked hard, and this is what I'd seen in other places, is now Tina, who's our permanent part-time lady in our office downstairs, if we have pavilions, and she does it once a week, she prints out all these permit cards and takes them out to the parks shop, and then on the weekends, on Saturday mornings, because that's when most of our rentals are, we'll just use that as an example, Billy goes out and puts the cards in the holders at the pavilion and states, Bob Zurich has his pavilion rental, Lake Pavilion number 1 rented on Saturday, June 19th from noon to, whatever, midnight. And so, yeah, that's our process now. So it should cut down on issues, we're hoping.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
So we've gone over the fees, proposed fees, and for the facilities and pavilions. Do I have a motion and a second to pass this on to council? Okay, so we have a motion from Jeannie.
I'll second.
Second by
You
Gavin.
finally got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Who's the second?
Gavin. It was kind of two heads going at the
That's
same
right.
time, so,
Flip a coin.
okay. The new Optimus Park Playground.
Okay. My computer, between Darren and I, we still can't get this figured out.
She missed one.
Why it won't pull up what I was gonna show you. So, in the current budget, I have $92,500 budgeted for a new playground at Optimus. The current playground we have over there is from 1998. Last summer, we had vandalism there, and the slide has a plastic tube slide, a small one, was vandalized and cracked in a couple different places, and we're not able to repair it. And we looked into replacing that slide. We could get another slide. I talked to the city administrator about it, but we didn't. The cost was $10,000, and the playground's very old and very dated. And so we can get a whole new playground for, like I said, the budget's 92.5. And so I don't know why it won't pull up, but I have two options here, really. They're the same playground, and it will be mulch down there, not rubber. And I guess I have these two copies. I can go down and get some more copies. I don't know why it won't pull up. And we can pass them around. But what I was gonna have you look at was the color scheme. There's two different color schemes. There's like an orange and a teal or whatever color that is. And then the green, which is a very popular, and teal color. And so you guys can look at it. I'll go down and get a couple more copies. So you can pass it around. We can get the playground fairly quickly. I think the lead time was, 8 weeks, which is relatively short considering what they had been in the past, most recent past. And we're proposing to move it. The current playground sits behind the pavilion, and we feel like you can't see it very well the street, and there could be a lot of potentially bad things going on back there, and it's easier to vandalize. And we want to move it out into the open a little bit more, so in between the pavilion and the basketball court. There's the big open grassy area there. So it's a little more visible from the parking lot and street. We're hoping that maybe that'll cut down on some of the vandalism too. And so the price on one of those sheets there is 89.5, I think, or something like that. And that's fully installed. The only thing it doesn't include, which we would do in-house, because I think we can get a little better price on it than what the contractor would do, is we would purchase and install the playground, they call it kitty cushion or playground mulch, I guess. It's a specialized mulch. And so I did not have her include that, so we would do that in-house. And we would take down the old playground. Since it's going in a little bit different location, we can leave the old playground up until the new one is fully installed, and then take the old one down.
That's nice.
I can go down and get some more copies, or you guys just want to pass out around, or?
You're fine.
Sorry, I don't know why it won't pull up. I usually don't have
How do we all
much
feel about
problems with this.
So basically,
Kevin,
it's
how do you feel about
teal and orange or teal and green.
Is that your HDMI?
Is that orange or red?
Yeah.
I think you said orange.
Orangey red, good.
Orangey red?
Okay.
Oh, it's got some new features.
As long as that's on, you should be able to get.
I know. It's so cool, guys.
Oh, yeah, red button.
I'm glad that we're moving to in between. You'll see it.
Sign on real quick and see.
That'd be nice.
Oh, here, this is, oh, yeah, that's definitely the one. I don't like this one. I don't like the orange.
I like that.
I do too, yeah. Oh, they'll love that over there.
No likey.
Oh, yeah.
That's John.
Oh, the girls would
I
love
don't
that.
understand why it gives you a back screen. That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It shows the icons at the bottom, but
Oh, those are great pieces, and if Dawn had that one.
I don't know, maybe it needs to be restarted by the time we
Great,
restarted.
that's
Yeah,
a regular.
that would make sense.
On Mike's side, the youngest is like 30.
Yeah, sure, yeah, I can.
They're great, she does that well.
But that's okay, it's still,
We've been doing that for like 8-9 years.
I know.
I kinda like the orange.
Okay. Scheduled to see anybody till January.
I like this one be better than that one.
No, I like the orange.
You could see it from the street.
You could see the
You
orange
could see,
better.
you know,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can
you
see.
could.
While you guys are looking at that, we skipped over the park ordinance updates. I'm still working on it. I was hoping to have those ready for tonight, but I'm still working on those. I gotta get them to you first. And then these guys, and then
Yeah, you
council.
did.
You're fired.
Skipped right
You're
over that.
fired.
I skipped over it because I knew you weren't ready for it. It's just telepathy.
You knew I wasn't
Mental
ready for it,
telepathy.
yeah.
Ooh. So I would assume, while everybody's looking, you want us to pick a color tonight? Is that-
Yes, that'd be great, because then we can kind of get moving on it. I still have to take it to city council for approval and everything, so
So we need a motion and then a color suggestion.
This is the orange side of the fence.
Green poles or orange poles, is that the
I like the orange.
yes, basically. I feel like someone, and I can't remember, made a comment, I think it was from this board about, because Main Parks Playground has that green in it, and the Phoenix one has the green in it. So I asked our playground rep, I said, why do you keep sending stuff? And she goes, oh, that's the most popular color
For all abilities, there's nothing.
that they sell. Like, that color is like super popular for the last, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 years anyways. And so she sent me a color palette today. You would be, I mean, it's like 3 pages of different combinations of colors, and like 60% of, oh, you got it.
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
got
it went along
Oh,
with
that
it.
wasn't supposed to go around. Well, you can see now, there's like,
That's why I was asking about color.
that was, yeah, it was supposed to stay on my
I
desk,
wanted
but
plaid, I
a
wanted.
lot of them have that green in them. A lot of, have that green in them, so.
Well, now that we've all seen it, right, because Jeff doesn't need to vote on this, He'll vote on it
We
later.
care about your opinion, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
do want
really
you to
do.
share the opinion.
No,
What color do you prefer?
I have no opinion.
Oh.
Jeff Petke without an
Al,
opinion.
do you have an opinion?
I'll stick with the same
That's
answer.
even better.
Either or.
We have no opinions from our council, okay, that's, so the board, I guess we should just have a vote. Let's do- And majority wins. So, yeah, majority
Rock,
wins.
paper, scissors?
So either if I remember this correctly, the one with the green or the one with the orange? All right, so
Did you
Yes.
note options?
those are the options.
No, there's an option.
Oh, I didn't note, did you? Can you,
Can't we just say
would you
orange or
give us
green?
those options?
Yeah, just say orange or green.
Can't we just say orange or green?
Because I'll know which, I mean, it's easy to
Are
tell.
we overthinking this?
Option 3 is green posts.
Option 3 is a green post?
Yeah, the other one doesn't have options.
Okay, so we either vote, okay, all in favor of no option, so that would be the orange one, I'm
Orange
assuming.
poles.
Yeah, no, just don't pay attention to the bottom. That was internal between me and just use either orange poles or green poles, and I'll take care of it from
Okay.
there.
Thank you, Gavin. Okay,
My
back, all in favor of the orange poles, raise your hand.
Oh, geez.
That's
Great.
3.
Love it.
All in favor of the green?
No.
Now you guys know.
I quit.
We're done.
Terrible.
You really don't
You
like
guys
this
are
one?
all colorblind
It
anyway.
does-
We-
In
you should let
the
us
grand
be
scheme of
one.
things, does it really matter?
No, really, in the scheme of thing, it doesn't, but I'll tell you why we liked the other. We thought it was more visible from the street, that when you're driving by and you might be looking for.
Oh
I-
my,
We can always revote, you know, but that was it.
there's your headline.
Where's the holiday spirit?
Controversial vote.
There is no holiday spirit over here.
So
I think we should have a revote.
it's 3-3, right? Or
Yeah, 4-3.
4-3.
4-3? I thought it was 3-3.
Green did it. Green won.
Green, okay.
Green won.
You know what?
You guys
We're
gotta be
okay with
sorry.
it.
No.
We're okay.
Okay, so you like the
We're
green then?
adaptable.
Wait till next time.
Yep, we're adaptable.
So I was telling staff, like, will this be like, in like in the 70s, everyone had those weird, like in the kitchen or
Yeah,
even other,
avocado green
like
with
the
the
olive green or the
Oh,
peach
avocado.
colored.
Yeah, yeah.
So like in 15 or 20 years, are people gonna come to our playgrounds and be like, oh, well, these were all put in the 2020s, because look, they all
Yeah.
have that weird green color or
Somewhere
whatever.
we're gonna etch in there who voted for those.
With our flashlights
With
some
those
night
holes.
in black clothes.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we'll get that on the council then and ordered, so.
okay.
Thank you. And one thing to note, I know this, it came up in this meeting in the past. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it has swings. The initial proposal, one of the options, they said it didn't have swings. I was like, we need to have swings, so
Yeah, you do.
we got swings put on it, so.
Okay, do we have any new business that we have not brought up or needs to be brought up?
I noticed lots of clearing on the west end of the trail. Is that
Yes,
going on?
and so I don't know if I mentioned it last meeting.
I can see it from my deck, so.
Yeah, per the Polite property, what do you call it? Agreement, we have to clear that every so often, the willow trees
looks
down
nice.
along the trail, or along the bank there. And so we've been doing that.
Looks really nice.
I forgot about that.
Hearing no other discussions or conversation, before we close the meeting, I just think that the park board would like to wish our staff and the community happy holidays, Merry Christmas, great New Year. Enjoy the season. And our next meeting is scheduled for January 8th, 2025. So we need a motion to adjourn and a second, please. We have a motion by Bob.
Second.
And a second by Bob. All in favor? All in favor, say aye.
Oh, aye.
Bob and Bob.
Well, thanks for your IT efforts.
I'm gonna buy some orange paint.
Oh, thanks.
Swear to God,
Yeah, see, no,
I can't believe.